Hello my gorgeous babes out there and welcome. In today's video I'm going to talk about 10 palettes that I regret purchasing and all the reasons why. But before we get into this video, if you're new here, hello, welcome. My name is Bree and I'm just a crazy lover of all things beauty, and I like to post a lot of fun colorful makeup content. I like to do a lot of things on indie makeup, so if those are things you're into, please hit that subscribe button and join this little family. But with that being said, let's get into this video. All right, my little love bugs, welcome. I hope all of you are doing well. I just got home a couple hours ago from work, so I'm still like in my work clothes, still got my work makeup on, and like I said before, I normally am a lot more chill when I go to work because your girl never gets up early enough to do full face of makeup. But this is the use, you know. I don't even put liner, just mascara, some super shock shadows on the lid, bronze in the crease, call it a day. Also, do you guys see how cute these earrings are? Look at these. They're like little fish, like in like a little bag of water, you know, like when you get from the pet store. Isn't that adorable? My coworker gave me these earrings today because she always sees me wearing these like fun, quirky earrings. So she brought me some that she had that she never wears. So I thought that was sweet. But anyways, I'm just like super excited about my earrings, okay? But anyways, I want to get into these palettes that I regret purchasing for various reasons. And I mean, some of them are going to be quite similar, some of them are going to be a little different, but you know, I have a lot of regret purchases when it comes to makeup because the hype is real, okay? People really can just get drawn into the hype and you get excited by like the new and everybody's like excited for it and all that, and then next thing you know, you're sucked in and you're purchasing it and you don't even know why. So that has happened to me a lot when it comes to makeup, and I'm trying to avoid doing that and like think my purchases through before I buy them. So I do have my little pile of regrets sitting here in front of me, and we're just gonna go over all of them. Now, there is one palette that I don't have anymore. I just gave it away to Casey's cousin that was visiting us because that's how much I regret purchasing. I didn't even want to keep it anymore. So hopefully she loves it, but we will just dive right in. So the first palette, which I'm just gonna get right to it. I really don't like this palette and I'm very sad with myself that I picked it up, but this is the Natasha Denona pastel palette. Now, it's nice. It's not horrible, but if you think about the price, then it is horrible. I do like the shimmers in this, but this is a, what is it? Is this the $60 price range palette? Yeah, in the $60 range. Quite expensive, and I thought the pastel mattes especially were not very good. And you know, when you're looking for a pastel palette, you're looking for good pastels. You can easily make a pastel shimmer, but to make a good pastel matte is very hard. And I usually love Natasha Denona's formula, and this one just didn't meet it for me. I was very underwhelmed. I was very disappointed overall with this purchase, and I think I just really got caught up in like the fact that it was Natasha Denona, and it was a time where I was like just really loving pastels, and it was getting so hyped up on like social media and stuff, and I was like, I have to have it. I have to own every Natasha Denona palette, which is not the case. I don't need to own every Natasha Denona palette. So this is one that I just regret ever getting. And then another one that I got caught up in the hype too when I got this was the Pat McGrath collab with Bridgerton. Now, it's cute. It's not a bad palette, but when I look at it, I'm like, it's all right. There's a lot of palettes that look like this. The packaging is actually kind of cheap, and I think this was like a $60 palette for 6 shades. Like, why did I pay 60 bucks for 6 shades? I don't know, for cheap packaging. And I don't even watch the show Bridgerton. I've never seen it. I know nothing about it. I watched some clips. I wasn't really into it. Like, it just seemed like not my kind of show. I like a lot more darker mysteries and like murder mysteries and I guess more serious like shows and stuff. So this show didn't vibe with me. The packaging, the price, like, why did I buy it? Because this was super hyped. Pat McGrath's releases are always super hyped, and then a lot of people were hyping up this show and the collection, and the marketing and everything just sucked me in, and I bought it on impulse basically. So that is like why I ended up getting it. And honestly, I have not touched this palette since I reviewed it, and maybe I did one more look outside of work, and since then I haven't touched it because honestly, I have this many times over in my collection. There's nothing really special about it. I mean, like this blue is pretty and stuff, but I have these kind of colors and so many other palettes that I reach for way more than this. So many regrets with this one. Oh my gosh, I'm going in on those palettes. You know, please don't take it personal though if you do love these palettes. This is just my like personal opinions, preference and stuff, and why. Then I have one that's like an older purchase from Natasha Denona. I don't even know if they make this palette anymore, but this is the Lila palette. And when I first got this, I think this was my first like high-end expensive palette that I ever purchased, and I was like getting really into cool tones at the time in like purple shades. And now that I think of it, it's not that purple. It's a lot of cool tone neutrals with some magentas and maybe like one real light purple in here when I think about it. But I was like, it's okay. I feel like a lot of the shades ended up being very satin light, and I didn't end up getting a lot of use out of this. And this is one of the $129 palettes. So it was a very pricey purchase, and it didn't meet like the pricey expectations that I had. Then I have another Natasha Denona palette, and this one's not a bad palette at all. I think the quality is really pretty, but now that I think of it, it doesn't really meet what I love wearing in terms of colors on my eyes. Now I'm kind of wearing colors similar to it right now because it happened to match my top, but I don't tend to wear these kind of colors. So this is the sorry, I'm not even telling you guys, this is the Sunrise palette from Natasha Denona, and this is a very like warm, kind of like a little bit of berries, some yellows and some neutrals. So I feel like this is like a sunsetty kind of palette. It says sunrise, but I think more of sunset when I look at this. And I don't know, I don't reach for it that often, and I don't know if I've played with this in a while. This is one of the $60 palettes, and I just think like these are not the typical colors I go towards, even though I'm wearing it right now. It just happens to be the case. But normally I wear a lot of greens, a lot of cool tones, a lot of blues, a lot of purples, and things of that nature. It's not often that I'm reaching for orangey shades, yellows, or even like kind of berries. Like I wear berries, but not that often as I would for cool tones. I feel like overall it's a little bit more warm and not my exact color story. And this was another palette that was like super hyped up. People were really excited for it, and I got caught up in the hype and picked it up. But then I have this one right here from Pat McGrath. Yes, I have a Pat McGrath palette in here too, and I know a lot of people love this brand, but this is the, I think the Rose Divine 2 palette, which this doesn't have a name on it. I think it's the Divine 2, the Rose Divine 2 palette. I think that's the name of this. Now it is very pretty, like looking at it, it's a pretty palette. It has this pretty like shifty shade in here. Overall, it's pretty neutral with like pink tones in here. I have used this once, to be honest, and this was another thing that like a lot of people just like hype a lot, and people really go crazy for Pat McGrath's formulas, for their palettes, for like their shimmers, and that they're just so special. And in my opinion, they're really not that special. I have tried so many indie like sparkly and like shifty shades that are way better to me than the shades in here, from Cleona, from Divina, from Kaleidos, from Udin's Eye. I mean, I could go on how many like metallics and shimmers that I like better than the ones in here. I think what's really good though is the mattes, but they're like neutral mattes. Like there's only 2 true mattes in here, and that's like the formula I prefer the most out of here. So this is another one that like everyone was like making a big deal out of it, and they always make a big deal out of Pat McGrath's palettes, and I don't get it. I really don't. I've tried it and I'm like, oh, it's cool. I tried the Bridgerton one. Oh, it's cool. And then the other one that I wanted to mention was the Bronze Seduction palette. That is the one that I gave away to Casey's cousin. That one is like a more neutral one. It has like a little bit of red. You'll see the picture here. And I don't tend to wear neutrals, but I was like, maybe this will be like the elevated neutral palette that I have to have and experience. And it was like the most highly rated one, or at least it said top rated when I was looking at it on Pat McGrath's website. And at the time they were doing like a big, like, you know, Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale, which I think I ended up getting it for like $80. And these palettes, like in this size, are usually $129. So I was like, ooh, I'm gonna get a deal for something extra special. And then I got it and I was like, it's not extra special to me. And I got it the same time I got this one. And it was a pretty neutral palette, but it wasn't $129 worth neutral palette to me. There's a lot of neutral palettes that I love from Nabla and all of those brands that come out with really good, like, more neutral color stories. And I was just like underwhelmed. I spent the money. And $80 still was a lot, even though I got a discount. To me, it was still a lot to pay for that palette, to then ultimately end up giving it away. And I think I did 2 looks with it, and that was it. I think I filmed 1 video using the palette on my channel, and even with that look, I was like, it was okay when I look back at it. Then the next palette, which I actually decluttered this already, and it was in my pile of decluttered palettes, which I still have sitting here. A lot of them I've already given away, but I was like, oh my god, this is still here. And this is definitely something I regret purchasing. I think I used it twice, and then I was like, yeah, I'm decluttering this. This is not for me. So this is the Urban Myth palette from Black Moon Cosmetics. And when I got this, it was a time when I really was getting into indie makeup, and I wanted to try every single brand, every single formula. Like, I was just in that like discovery phase. So I bought this on a whim, knew nothing about their formula. I didn't watch any reviews. I was just like, ooh, the theming is cute. I love watching things about urban myths, urban legends. I like the name of their brand. Like, everything just sucked me in. Then it was also a more colorful palette. Then it had like the UFO mirror. Like, it was just like pulling at all the things that I'm like fascinated by. So when I got it, I was like, what is this? The mattes are on the thinner side. They're not very pigmented, so you have to really try to build them up. And then the metallics to me felt really dry, and they're not very high shine. They're a little underwhelming, and all of these look like they're forming hard pan, especially these two. And now that I feel them, they even feel drier. Like, they feel like they even dried out more, and not a lot picks up on your finger when you try to get them to pick up. And I was like, you know, starting to film a couple of looks with this because I was planning to do a review video. And I was like, dang, I don't really like how these looks are turning out. And then I never ended up posting the video. I never got a chance to actually edit it. I guess I just wasn't excited by it. And I probably should have put that video up so you guys could have seen how this performed. But the next thing I know, months had already went by, and I felt like it was too late to post a review. So I never even reviewed it. I never did anything with it on my channel. And this is definitely something like I wish I didn't purchase, or maybe had watched reviews first, looked into the brands more, looked into like their shadows before I had picked it up, because then I would have known this was not like gonna be my preference. And I do like Black Moon Cosmetics. I really like their lip products, and they're not like a bad brand. I just didn't like their eyeshadow formula, at least the one that was in here. Then going on to the last 3 palettes, and both of these brands I really love. Like, I love a lot of things from them. I purchased many of their products. These palettes just didn't do it for me. So the first one that I have here is from Lethal Cosmetics. This is the Berlin 89 palette. And please don't take this as me not liking Lethal Cosmetics. I love that brand. I just reviewed their 1-Up palette. If you want to check that out, I'll link it below. I'll put it up in the corner. But this palette just wasn't it. That's what it is. And this was like in the $40-50 range. So they're mid-range. They're not a cheap brand. And then I had to pay, you know, like $15 to get it shipped to me because I bought it from their website because they're based out of Germany. And then I was like underwhelmed when I got it. So there's like, I think 2 dual chromes or 2 multi-chromes in here, and they were really pushing that they had like a new multi-chrome formula, and I found them very underwhelming and very more satin-like. I was, I guess, expecting more intense shift, more high shine, and they didn't really give it to me like that. And then the shimmers that are in here, the other ones, they're a little bit more chunky. Like this yellow one is a lot more chunky. It does look pretty, but it has a lot of texture to it. And then like the mattes are okay. Like their matte formula has always been like a good, you know, decent formula. But then I also thought the color story was not perfect. Like, it was a little weird. I feel like I kind of struggled to get looks together, and I had a hard time being creative with this palette for some reason. So when I filmed that video, I really struggled to put looks together for some reason, and I just think it's like the setup or the color choices or something that I didn't love, and then these two were very similar, and I don't know, it was my least favorite palette that I've tried from Lethal Cosmetics. This is definitely one that I probably could have passed on because I haven't used it since those reviews. I haven't even had the desire to. When I look at it, I don't know what to do with it. I don't know why that happens. There's just some color stories, or it could be the packaging that's throwing me off, but I don't gravitate towards this at all. Then the last two palettes are from Glamlite, and I told myself not to purchase these. I was like, no, these aren't exactly what I'm looking for. Like, I know I'm not gonna probably use them that much, and then I went and bought them anyways. I just got caught up in that whole craze and like FOMO and fearing that I'm gonna miss out, because I love Glamlite so much, and that was the time when I was like buying like every palette that they ever released. So I picked these up without thinking it through. I don't know why, but these are the Icy palettes, the blue raspberry and the cherry palette, and they're super monochromatic palettes, and the shades are just so repetitive in this. And I have so many palettes that have blues and reds, like there's just so many repeat shades that I don't even think to reach for them, because I don't often do like monochromatic looks. And of course I could pair these with other palettes, but I have a lot of palettes that have reds mixed in and blues mixed in that I don't even really need these. Like, I could see if I was missing these kind of shades from my collection, but I'm not. And I told myself not to buy these, and then I was like, you know what, I need to have it. I own every Glamlite palette. Like, everybody's loving this. It's so cute. It's icy themed. And then I got it, and it took me months to use it. I even mentioned it in a video, palettes I purchased that I haven't used yet. And then I did do like a Valentine's Day look, and I played with this one too, and it was just okay. Like, it's not a bad formula. They're really good. Like, I love Glamlite's formula. I love their mattes. I love their metallics. But it's just like the color stories are way too repetitive. I already have these many times over, and I don't even gravitate towards using them. So these are definitely palettes that I regret purchasing. Anyways, guys, that was all the palettes that I wanted to mention. All the things that I wish I didn't buy. And this is just such a good reminder that I need to stop getting caught up in the hype. I need to stop having that FOMO and having the newness pull me in. And if I just stopped and thought about it, or let that pass, that whole new hype phase pass, then I probably wouldn't have ended up picking up a lot of these purchases. Because I noticed, like, if I let something like go and I just think about it for a while, and then later down the line, like, look back at it, I realize it's not something that I really want. I feel like if it's something I really want, I'm still gonna want it even after the whole hype has gone away. So I'm trying to work through that and stop feeling the need to constantly consume and buy and purchase and have everything, especially like for my favorite brands, because there was a time where I felt like I had to have everything from my favorite brand, every single release. But sometimes there's going to be releases that don't meet my preference, and I don't need to own all of it, and I don't need to sit there and collect things, especially if it's things that are just going to sit there and, you know, collect dust. So now I have like 10 palettes sitting here in front of me that I spent my hard-earned money on that I'm not even getting my money's worth out of. So that was all the things that I wanted to talk about. Hopefully you guys found this video interesting to watch. Hopefully you enjoyed it. But you guys will have to let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Are there things you regret purchasing, or are you really good at being more thoughtful and thinking things through? I would really love hearing from all of y'all. Also, if you're new here and you enjoyed this video, you like a lot of stuff in indie makeup, a lot of things on eyeshadow palettes, then please hit that subscribe button and join this little family. Also, don't forget to check out the description below. I will link all the palettes I mentioned. Maybe these palettes would actually meet your preferences. I will also link any videos of mine that I may have done with any of these palettes, or other ones that you might be interested in watching. I will also have my social media platforms linked. I'm also on Instagram as Breezy Lifestyle and Breezy_Beauty. So if you want to check me out over there, I would really, really love that. But guys, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, for being here, supporting my channel, being amazing. I appreciate all of y'all, and I just hope you guys are all doing well wherever you are in the world, and I'm just sending you all so much light and love. But until next time, bye guys.